Do you dream of having your own special outdoor space? A small garden that you can admire, enjoy, and call your own. And then you stop and think, I have no idea how to make it. Well, you're not alone.
Monty Don has travelled up and down the country visiting amateur gardeners with bold ambitions. He's scrutinised their plans and pushed them out of their comfort zones.
Going out into deeper, darkest, unknown territory, isn't it?
It's not been easy.
I hate it.
But everyone's worked incredibly hard.
Both of us want to sleep for a week, pretty much.
You've had your tea break, come on.
And the transformations have been extraordinary.
It's just incredible, it really is.
I declare this garden open! I do believe that everybody, however small their garden, can cultivate a big dream. Here they come.
Here they come.
This is like an identification parade, isn't it?
This time, Monty is helping two sets of ambitious gardeners, each facing challenges on a very different scale.
That's it.
One may be a tiny urban courtyard, but the dream is off the scale.
My big dream for this place is for it to become a tropical garden.
The other is a larger space, but has to fulfil the dreams of a whole community.
It's a blank canvas at the moment, really, and I'd like it to provide inspiration to the children.
Both are tackling complicated projects and are desperate for Monty's advice.
If you don't want it there, move it.
God, that was so much bigger than I thought it was.
This is just a bundle of fibrous roots. Doesn't look like anything.
With absolutely no gardening experience whatsoever between them, can they possibly manage it?
We've got this big dream, but we just don't know how to get it into reality.
We've got the time, we've got some money, but we don't have the knowledge.
Our first garden is a private urban retreat in Hackney, in northeast London. A year ago, Carla and Stuart moved into this 1990s bungalow, with a tiny patch of garden tucked behind it, measuring only 20 square metres.
This is the back garden, and at the moment it's just very bare. It's surrounded by walls, and there's a shed, a big tree and a dead tree, and peeling paint.
I think it's amazing that we even have any garden space at all.
But Carla has a very particular dream for the tiny back courtyard, inspired by her childhood in the Philippines. With little idea where to start, the couple are thrilled and relieved to hear that Monty will give them a hand in creating their tropical paradise.
We need him to guide us on how we can make the most out of it. It's such a small space that I think the planting would be very important.
And there's a couple of plants that we put in since we moved in, but it hasn't really kind of moved on very much from that.
Monty's skills might be needed on another front too.
We've got like a banana plant, haven't we? So we've had countless arguments about where the best place to put that is.
Yeah, we really need an adjudicator for that one. I'd like to be proved right, but I'll probably be proved wrong.
Our second garden belongs to a whole community. This large space is used as a play area by St Mary's Primary School in the village of Hawkshaw near Bury in Lancashire. It's also shared with the whole village. And the members of the PTA, the Parents and Teachers Association, feel they could be doing so much more with this 300 square metres of land.
At the moment, it is just grass, it's just patio, and we want it to be exciting, want it to draw people in, don't we?
It's never been maintained, and it's something the school have just neglected, really, but it's something that the PTA have taken on.
Helen and Jenny are both parents with children at the school, and Claire is the school secretary.
We've got this lovely space that we could make use of for the whole school.
We want it to be like a journey where the people can go around the path and it just feels like they've experienced something.
Yeah. The bottom area we want to really bring alive, don't we?
Yeah, sensory area, nature area, the stumpery, the bug hotel.
The three mothers have big dreams and the backing of the whole community. But it's Monty's help they need more than anything.
We're a bit overwhelmed.
Without him, we wouldn't be able to finish this to the standard we want. No.
It's the merry month of May. With the sap rising and everything bursting into fresh leaf, it's a great time to make a start on a new garden project. Monty is on his way to Hackney to meet Carla and Stuart and see what he can do to help them with their project.
Can't imagine what he's going to say about our garden.
I don't think he's going to tear the design to pieces, but I'm kind of bracing myself just in case.
Yeah.
Hi, Monty.
Hello. Hello.
Welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Hello. Hello.
The couple can't wait to show him the courtyard.
So this is the space. Well, it's interesting. It's nice. What do you want from this garden when it's finished?
We'd like it to look like a tropical garden.
Why tropical?
I'm from the Philippines,
Yeah.
so I had a really great childhood there, having banana trees and coconut trees.
We might be pushed to get coconut.
Yeah.
And we're on a piece of the Philippines. Do you share that vision, or is this entirely yours?
It came from Carla, but I'm definitely fully on board. We went to the Philippines last year and had an amazing time.
Carla and Stuart look pleased to have laid out their dream before Britain's favourite gardener. But will he approve?
Often, when people say something like that, the next half hour is a process of gently sort of disillusionment them with all their dreams and hopes and fantasies, because we're in the UK, it's cold and it's wet and it's miserable. However, here in the middle of London, these nice high walls all round, I think there's a real chance of doing something genuinely exotic and lush.
Well, that's good news. Now for some practical tips.
Do you want to repaint those walls or strip them back to brick?
We kind of like the faded look, but
Right.
with the paint kind of flecking off as it is,
Yeah.
we don't think it's that great for the garden.
I would be inclined to maximise the light,
Okay.
because the walls are great shelter, but they are going to block the light to a certain extent. Which brings to the next point, is what sort of budget are you talking about?
£2,000, haven't we?
Yeah.
Which is quite generous for what is a relatively small space.
Yeah.
With their dream outlined and the budget approved, it's time to look at their ideas in more detail.
This is very professional. Did you do this?
No, Carla did.
I did it.
The couple's plan is to cover the old concrete paving with a pebbled texture. The space will be dominated by a barbecue, dining and fire pit right in the middle. Adding to their existing plants, they want to place dramatic exotics, such as bananas and canna, round the edges of the paving, and site a large bamboo near the old tree in the corner.
Black stone pebble paving, presumably this patch here.
Yeah.
Why?
I think being able to sort of go out there barefoot when it's nice and hot, it's part of my nostalgia. I mean, I just think the way it is now, you would never dream of going out there
I agree.
barefoot.
Having approved of the pebble surface, Monty now suggests a better use for it.
There's no actual path of any kind. You can, if you want, take your guests on a route, even in a very small garden. Cool.
But he's also noticed a potential mistake that needs addressing.
You've got a very scruffy existing tree that is about as un-Philippine as it can be. This is prime real estate, okay? So we want prime Filipino plants. I think what you have to do is clear out everything, including that tree. I would take it down, chainsaw time. It's not going to fit in your story.
Yeah.
By removing the tree, Monty explains they can put their tender tropical plants there and make better use of the sunny side of the courtyard.
Your southwest corner, which is going to be sunny from mid-afternoon to the evening, is going to have your best plants, or at least your plants that like heat most.
And he finds the ideal spot for their banana palm.
The banana will fare best in the hottest spot.
Monty reckons the couple should scrap everything and paint the walls white. A new path through their luscious planting would create a jungly sense of mystery, and their more tender exotic plants, like the bananas, should be sited in the sunniest corner to help them survive the British winter. With the plan in good shape, Monty goes back to the courtyard because he's spotted some plants, like this passion flower, which need attention right now.
If you do want to salvage some plants, just a few little tips. I mean, if we take this passion flower, it's planted much too close to the wall. when you plant wall plants, keep them at least a foot away from the wall. So back where my foot is now, there, and angle them in. And the reason for that is rain never falls dead vertical. It falls at an angle, hits the wall, and the wall soaks it up, so they get dry. Now, I'll dig that up.
Monty sets to work to save the passion flower
Dig round.
and shows the couple how to pot up plants until they're ready to be put in the newly created tropical garden.
Now, you can see, it's a nice example, actually. Look how the roots have grown since it's been planted. When did you plant this?
About 6 weeks ago.
So it's grown well. I put my hand in this. I'm assuming that this is compost. A bit in the bottom. And just gently pop it in like that. And actually, there's no need to even add any more. Give it a good soak. Let that soak in, and then give it some more. And do that once a week. And put it somewhere out of direct sunlight and out of the wind.
And with the plants in their temporary pots, Monty leaves Carla and Stuart with a final word of advice.
I think that's as far as I can go on this. What you now have to do, I realise, is just clear away all plants unless you actively want them in that position. All surfaces, whether it be brick, gravel, paving, if you don't want it there, move it. And hopefully this will be transformed. And then we'll do more transforming together. Good.
I think what we've got at the moment has a lot of potential. You realise there is a surprising amount of space there.
What they need to do now is to possess the space, not worry about details, but keep the big picture clear in their mind and then plan a route towards achieving that.
Having Monty here today has really spurred us on to kind of get cracking and rip everything up as he was recommending.
Yeah.
And then we can work towards creating that Philippine paradise that they want.
It's June. Monty is making his way to Hawkshaw to meet the gardening dream team at St Mary's School.
We're really, really excited about it because he's going to give us that expertise and guidance that we just haven't got. Children are very excited, aren't they? You say the children want to go and
showed them a picture of him and said, you know, yeah, they all recognise him.
Monty wants to see what he can do to help the PTA group transform their boring site.
Hello.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Lovely to meet you.
Hello.
Hi, come on in, come in.
Thank you. Is this the plot?
Most of this large space is grassed over, but with little else in the way of plants. There's a functional but plain patio at the top of the slope and a stage-like decked area at the bottom with some existing fixed seating. At the moment, it's mainly used by St Mary's youngest school children, as parent and PTA member Helen explains to Monty.
We've got from age 4 to 11 here in the school, so at the moment it's mainly utilised by reception and year 1 children. The rest of the children aren't really getting any benefit from the space, so we kind of wanted to bring that in by growing vegetables and different plants, eventually run a gardening club and involve the children.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So a play area for small children and a garden that can be gardened by the older children.
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
But that's not all. The garden will have to serve a third purpose too.
Always has to be kept for community use.
So does that mean that the local community's got to have access to the garden?
Yes.
Not in school time, but at weekends and evenings.
Yeah.
And how do you think they will use it?
Well, we're hoping once we've got things like we're growing our own vegetables and things like that, after school pick your children up and then come and get some salad out the garden and take it home.
With 3 groups to please, there's the vital question of how to pay for it all.
What sort of budget have you got?
We've put aside £3,000 of the PTA fund to get things going with the hope that we'll get a bit more.
Okay, let's see some plans. Come on, lead on and I'll go. Let's have a look at them.
Monty's beginning to realise that this is a big community-sized dream. But can everyone get what they want? Others are keen to make the space fun for the youngest children and a place for the older ones to learn. So they plan to add 5 raised beds for veg growing and create both a nature area and a herb garden right in the middle of the space. To one side of the old decking area, they want to create a feature known as a stumpery, a kind of rockery but made with tree stumps.
And what have we got here? Stumpery.
Yeah.
Yes.
Haven't seen a stumpery made for a while. What makes you want to do a stumpery?
We just thought it was something different that would be nice for the children.
It's a great idea. First, get your stumps.
Yes.
We've got some stumps. We've got a selection of logs.
We're very lucky, really.
We're not quite clear on whether they're right what we've bought, but we have.
But Monty thinks their plans for other wildlife areas are rather vague.
Tell me what you envisage by nature area. What do you mean by it?
We wanted anything really that would attract as much wildlife as possible, just for the children to learn from.
So you're planting specifically for bees and insects?
Yes.
Okay, and you're encouraging birds and frogs, okay.
So Monty cautiously suggests an idea that would definitely encourage wildlife.
If you really want a nature area, what about a pond?
We did discuss it, but then we worried about the safety aspect with having children playing.
Well, it is a worry. How old are the youngest children? 4.
4.
And they would always be supervised.
Oh, yeah.
The real danger for a pond is to toddlers.
So how shallow can we get away with in terms of a pond?
You need a very shallow area. I mean, so the beach starts out the water, and is literally just a little bit of water. Clearly, you can't take any risks. It's not, but I think what would be good would be to set the challenges. Can we make a wildlife-friendly pond that is also safe for children of 4 and over?
Overall, Monty recommends they create bigger, more densely planted nature areas and build fewer but larger raised veg beds. But most importantly, he suggests they move their herb garden from prime position in the middle of the garden to make way for a more exciting feature, a child-safe wildlife pond.
Happy with that?
Yeah, really happy.
Keen not to let go of the country's top gardener just yet, the mothers have called in some helpers so they can get going right away. Monty sets them to work clearing out unwanted features while he turns his attention to the stumpery. A stumpery is supposed to be like a rockery, but made with large gnarled tree stumps. Plants can be added in the crevices between the stumps, and it will soon become a haven for wildlife. But have his keen amateurs really got the right basic materials?
This is just a bundle of fibrous roots that doesn't look like anything. I can't see anything here that I would include in a stumpery.
Okay.
Oh dear, that's a blow for the keen community gardeners. Luckily, Monty has a new plan.
We could just build a wall up, as you say, like a wooden rockery, and plant in the pockets. You literally just stack them up like you have, and like a bughead does, animals get in and you can have mice and dormice, and then they decompose, and that's really good for fungi, it's really good for beetles. We can take stuff in and start to work out what it would look like. Do you want to do that?
Yeah. It may end up more of a loggery than a stumpery, but who cares, as long as the insects make their new homes here.
I would say the next thing to do is get some logs in that we feel happy, see what planting spaces there are, then start planting.
It's been a long day, but everyone is left positive and focused.
It's a very particular project. You've got to have an educational space, you've got to have a playground and a beautiful garden. It's got to fulfil a number of quite conflicting demands.
We've got more of a definite vision now of where we're heading to, which before it was a bit vague, and now we're kind of set on what we're heading for.
Yeah. And how to do it as well.
Yeah.
I have no worries on that account, because if anyone can do it, I think they can.
Summer has well and truly arrived. Carla and Stuart need to learn about the type of plants they could include in their tropical garden, so Monty has sent them to visit a gardener who's trodden the very same path.
Hi, Nick.
20 years ago, Nick, who works in software sales, moved into this traditional semi in Leeds. Like Carla and Stuart, he dreamt of turning his back garden into an exotic paradise. The result is impressive.
Welcome to the jungle garden.
Amazing.
I want to do a jungle garden at our house. I mean, it's not as big as this. Where did you start?
When we moved in, all of this was lawn, all the way to the back.
Wow.
I decided I want to do jungle gardening.
Nick has created zigzagging paths, boardwalks and bridges to lead visitors on a jungle journey, just as Monty suggested for Carla and Stuart's space.
Oh my goodness, water!
It's a design technique that creates the illusion of a much larger space and gives exciting possibilities for positioning and then viewing the best plants.
Where are we going? This is quite an adventure.
The garden is packed with well-chosen big star plants. Plants that look exotic, but which are surprisingly hardy.
What do you think are the ones that are really useful to have the colour and the leaves during winter?
2 really good fit and forget plants. The hardiest palm you can get, Trachycarpus fortunei, windmill palm.
Okay.
Next to it is a plant you might see in many people's gardens, which is this strappy one here, called cordyline.
Right.
They'll take frost down to about -18.
Right, okay, that's good to know. Yeah. Does a fern tree keep its leaf?
Yes, the tree fern does keep it. If it's a mild winter, and you should be okay with that in London, the tree ferns will keep their leaves, fronds in winter,
Yeah.
With 20 years' experience of creating the tropical look in a British garden, Nick has 2 plants he thinks are absolute essentials. And he has another clever planting trick.
Most people right now are going for summer bedding. Petunias, marigolds, lobelia and that kind of thing. For the jungle garden, we use things like from the houseplant department. You see the one with the red flower spathe on the right-hand side? That's anthurium, better known as a houseplant.
Yes.
And then next to that is Impatiens New Guinea hybrid, the red one. They just go to add a sort of a tropical zing every now and again.
Completely.
Yeah.
Nick explains that he's positioned his most dramatic specimens in prime spots.
This is Gunnera manicata. It's a real star of the jungle garden.
Yes.
It's huge.
You can walk underneath it, you get huge leaves.
This is like the epitome of jungle gardening for me, this plant. Monty said it would be an inspirational day, but I hadn't expected how inspirational. Seeing Nick and experiencing his big dream, we've realised just the depth that can be involved and how much more we can do.
And how much more ambitious we could be, like, kind of not being too scared of massive plants.
Their exotic journey is over, but Carla and Stuart leave with a souvenir, a baby Gunnera for their own garden.
Oh, thank you so much, Nick.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Enjoy your Gunnera.
Thank you.
Spurred on by their visit, Carla and Stuart get straight down to work. Fully kitted out for the job in hand, they decide it's time to clear their space. And that means tackling that spiky tree in the corner.
We're literally killing it today, so I'm not...
Or it kills us.
Yeah, or it can kill us. You okay?
Yep. God, that was so much bigger than I thought it was.
Yeah, that's huge.
Like Monty said before, if we have a small space, then we need to make the most of that space. So you should get rid of anything that is kind of constraining you in that sense. So I don't feel too bad.
Monty's advice has encouraged them to be bold, and Carla and Stuart will soon be ready for the next step. The gardening mums from St Mary's need inspiration for their new community garden come playground. So Monty sent them here, to Sizer Castle, a historic house in the Lake District. Sizer's beautiful and wildlife-rich gardens include a pond, a stumpery and a superb kitchen garden. A source of fresh ideas for the mums and fun for the children.
Wow. It's like our pond. Look at that. Hey guys, look at this pond.
There's a bird walking on the lily pads too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's so cute.
Monty suggested a pond would attract wildlife and be lots of fun, as they're about to find out.
Hi guys.
Hi.
A little bit as you
I
come
got a pond skater.
It might be alright.
I think it's gone down well.
I think it's gone down really, really well. Yeah.
The pond dipping is clearly a success, and Sam has plenty of tips for the novice gardeners.
Is there anything we can do to encourage that kind of wildlife into our pond?
Sam.
The best way that things are going to get into your pond basically is probably going to be from birds coming in and having maybe eggs stuck on their legs or pooing in the pond sort of thing. So if you can make the rest of your garden like a wildlife haven and an incentive for them to come in, everything will happen.
Sizer also boasts a magnificent stumpery, and Warden Susan is keen to show it off.
This is sort of our take on a stumpery, but you can equally do your own version. We have 4 national collections of hardy fern here, so we wanted somewhere to show them off. So although it's not a play area, we would encourage children to come in and see all the different shapes and so on and the wildlife that it attracts.
So I think just the whole concept of our garden is that we want our children to be able to access every part of it, don't we? So it's not ideal, but they are going to climb all over everything. We're going to have to just bear that in mind, I think.
Susan gives them some tips about plants that would survive children climbing all over them.
What you could do there is choose some of the more sort of tough and sort of hardy ferns. We've got one further up which looks very prehistoric actually and is quite tough. So if you choose the right plants, they should sort of withstand a bit of rough and tumble, let's say.
I think this has given us the inspiration to go back and look at our loggery again, and
it's our version.
Yeah.
You've got your version.
Well, brilliant. I mean, that's for me what it's all about, is giving people inspiration, really.
This is also a perfect garden to get ideas from for their wildlife planting.
Just ask you what this is.
Yes, it's Courtleya robusta. It's a ginger lily.
Right.
And it would be great actually for your plot because it spreads quite readily, so it can fill in sort of spaces quite easily. Great for butterflies, bees and hoverflies.
Oh, it would be perfect for the nature area then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
And the advice comes with a bit extra.
I'm sure I could pot some up for you.
Oh, lovely, yeah.
That'd be fabulous.
All in all, a great day. But who got the most out of it?
What do you guys think of pond dipping then?
It's really good.
Really good?
Yeah.
Yeah? Go on then, Sam, what do you reckon?
It's spectacular.
Spectacular, flipping eh?
I think this has made our big dream bigger, in a way. Because we can see more now what's actually achievable, what we could get to in the end.
Our other dreamers in Hackney are determined to get their tropical garden underway. Although their courtyard is a mere 4 by 5 metres, Monty suggested they can still create a jungly sense of mystery by making a winding path. But first, he said they needed to clear the space, so they've chucked out everything that doesn't fit their tropical theme. They've even painted over the peeling old brickwork, just as Monty recommended. Next on their list is to invest in some exotic plants. It's 3 weeks since Monty first visited St Mary's Community Garden, and he'll soon be back to inspect progress. The gardening team is anxious to see what he thinks.
I think we have come a long way, but I kind of feel we haven't. I don't want him to come and think, what have you been doing?
They've cracked on in several areas, including splashing out on a substantial path. And encouraged by their experiences at Sizer, they've even made a start on the wildlife pond.
We've moved the herb garden over, haven't we? Because the central focus now is the pond, rather than the herb garden, which is better because the herb garden's not really the central focus, is it?
No, it's a bit more exciting for the children to have the pond, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what everyone wants to know is, what will Monty say to all of this?
Any community project can, if it's not careful, become a horse designed by a committee, in other words, a camel. And it doesn't quite please anybody, because it's trying to please everybody. And I wonder to what extent these key group of strong women are keeping the reins and steering it. Morning.
Hi.
Morning. How are you? Nice to see you. One kiss this time, plus two. Okay, nice to see you. So what are we doing?
They have a surprise in store for Monty, and Britain's top gardener is about to be tested.
Why am I standing here like a lemon? Explain to me.
Because we've asked all the children today to bring a plant in for the community garden. It could be absolutely anything, so we have no idea what's coming out.
Here they come.
Here they come. Yeah.
Best foot forward, everybody. It's plants on parade.
Look what we got there. And you got a chili?
It's
Sweet pepper, I'm sorry, I make mistakes all the time. Rhubarb?
Wow! Inviting plant donations will help to stretch the plant budget. But perhaps more importantly, the team is hoping it will encourage the older children to feel more part of the garden project.
Oh, you had a heather. Good. This is like an identification parade, isn't it? Yeah. There we go. More mint. Keep them coming. That's lovely. Oregano. That's fantastic. They'll be fine here. As long as, in fact, they can stay here for days as long as someone just watered them occasionally. Should we get on? Because I think it's going to rain.
It's time to get Monty's reaction to the pond.
There is one problem which I've noticed, which is it's on a slope.
Yes.
And water finds a level. Yeah. Always.
We kind of forgot about that.
so that if the water filled up to the highest point here, my guess is it would hit to about there.
Ah, yeah.
So why don't I dig a bit and someone else brings soil in.
Right.
And we do it like that.
Can we use turf?
Yes.
Or do you want...
You can use turf. Turf would be good.
Right.
But I would, rather than chuck it, I would place it.
And with everyone mucking in to help, the problem is soon put right.
What you need to do is, if we need to fill up, we need to start sort of here.
Right.
And backfill in. Because you're going to have a liner over the top of this. So if we turn it upside down, like that, and like that, and we build it up, we'll start to build up a kind of bank. Right, that is dead level.
Whee!
So that's the height.
Next, Monty wants to create a planting shelf within the pond, along one side, before stretching a liner over the whole thing.
Are we keeping the plants in the pots then, not burying them in the soil?
No, you keep them in the pots.
They're
in aquatic points. You can bury them in the soil, but the soil is usually too rich.
Right, okay.
And also, where's the soil going to be? It's underneath the liner, isn't it?
That's true. I thought we'd cut a hole in the liner.
No, if you cut a hole in the liner, where does the water go?
Yeah, through the hole.
What a relief to have an expert on board.
Thank goodness we didn't attempt this on our own.
Now they need to spread a thin layer of sand to protect the rubberized liner from being punctured.
A liner to a pond, if you imagine you put on skin-tight rubber, every wrinkle and fold will be revealed.
Steady, Monty.
Once it has been seen, it cannot be unseen.
The better we make the preparatory surface, the better and the easier it is to put the liner on. So if we put the sand in and then spread it, just spread it evenly out. It only needs to be about an inch thick. That's good, that's good.
And just when it's needed, reinforcements arrive to lend a hand.
Don't scrape it over the ground. Keep lifted up if you can. OK? Well done.
Monty shows them the next step, weighing down the liner with stones once it's in just the right place. Then it's ready to be filled. While that's happening, Monty has sent the children on an errand.
Monty, we've been down to the river.
Right.
Got a bucket of river
well
water.
done. I think of this as a soup. And what you do is if you add it to that water, it then becomes full of life, not life you can see, and then gradually that will feed into other life, and then we put plants in, that will get richer. So who's going to have the honour of pouring it in? If I just go, who's that? Right, I call this pond Lake Evie. Go on. I name this pond. There you go on, pour it in. Well done. That's it. Okay, I'll give you a hand. Go on, off you go. You do it. It's Lake Evie. Well done. There now, that's got life in it.
And with the rain adding to the other ingredients, everyone stands back and admires the day's work. There's a lot to tick off the to-do list.
Look at it. You've got a pond full of water, no less, and full of water that's pretty level, which was a miracle given where we started from. And you've got fabulous plants. And so that's great. So when I come back, I expect it all to come together.
He was really positive about everything. It's all gone really well. And the pond, we clearly couldn't have done the pond without him being here today.
All right, I'm going to go and wash my hands, get my gear, and then I'm on the road. OK, bye-bye.
He's got the same enthusiasm as us, hasn't he? So he kind of like...
It's infectious, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, we've managed to get quite a lot done today, and if they get as much pleasure, parents and children and the local community alike, from the finished product as they seem to be getting from making it, then it's going to spread a lot of happiness around.
It's high summer, and the city is bathed in gorgeous sunshine and luscious greenery. Since his last trip to Hackney, more than a month ago, Carla and Stuart invested in a stack of plants. But which should go where? Cue a much-needed visit from their mentor.
It was clear to me when I left here last time that to get the tropical feel that Carla wants, they've got to wipe the slate clean, get rid of the tree, get rid of every trace of English garden, and start anew with a completely different palette of plants.
The plant pound is at the front of the bungalow.
Oh, you have been shopping, yes?
Yes.
How much did that cost?
£347.
£347?
Yes.
I think that's quite good value.
Yeah.
We thought so.
Yeah.
Monty approves of their choices, but he does spot a problem.
One immediate thing that would give me cause for alarm is some of these plants I certainly wouldn't dream of growing outside in winter.
Oh, really?
Have you any winter protection lined up?
Yeah, I guess a lot of fleecing will happen.
Yeah, particularly with the banana.
Hay and straw.
Fine. That's absolutely fine. Good. Right, let's go and put that money to good use.
Yeah.
So, in no particular order.
To make every penny work as hard as possible, Monty shares his golden rule. Choose where to place the biggest star plants first, before filling in with the smaller ones. So they're starting with their absolute key plant, that long-suffering banana. The couple have been arguing about where to place it for nearly a year.
Can one of you come and help? What we have to do is hold this down.
Yep.
And then I'll try and pull it out. There we go. It's coming.
Excellent.
There we go.
Yay.
There we go.
Wow.
Okay, let's move the pot. And you can see every square inch of the pot has been used up for roots.
Yeah.
And this poor thing is wanting to spread its wings. Right, where do you want it?
Probably just where it was.
Really?
Yeah.
Right there.
When planting anything large, Monty's rule of thumb is to dig the hole wide so it can spread its hungry roots. Then where, like here, the soil is poor, add plenty of nutrition.
Do you have any manure or compost?
We've got some compost, yeah.
With half a bag of compost added and forked in, Monty does the honours.
Oh, that's about the height we want it in. Let these roots out a bit. Now, if you hold that upright, I'm going to put a little bit more compost around it, and then we'll push the soil back in. So essentially, we're using the hole like a container.
Okay.
As Monty points out, these big plants are going to need looking after like pot plants forever, with additional feeding and watering when needed.
What you're looking for is water to get down to those roots down the bottom. Really give it a drink.
Next, Monty suggests planting this luscious canna, which will soon produce large orangey-yellow flowers, perfect for that hot tropical look.
Like bananas, they like moisture, they like heat, and they like food.
Okay, it's good that they sit next to each other then.
Yeah, but the more nutrition you give them, the better they'll perform.
Carla and Stuart are learning that every aspect of their garden will need a lot of care if they're to realise their dream.
I think without Monty, we might have rushed ahead with planting stuff. I think I in particular can be a bit gung-ho with these sorts of things.
Monty coming and showing us how to plant and sort of looking at our soil and sort of, yeah, coming to the conclusion that it's not very good and that giving us advice on how we can improve it was really, really useful.
For Carla and Stuart to create the rich, lush, exotic effect they want, they do need a rich soil. And they don't have that at the moment. That's going to have to come with time and lots of mulching year after year.
It's the end of August. The harvest is underway and the community of Hawkshaw is making use of a spell of good weather to get the project finished before Monty's final visit. The pressure is on.
All the big things are done, aren't they? Yes. We're on to the lots of fiddly small things.
Yeah. We've got the finishing touches to do, really.
Yeah.
We're going to put the fence around the pond. Oh, hopefully we'll have time to do it.
Hopefully.
It's going to be a busy week, isn't it? But,
yeah.
We'll get there.
Better get cracking then. Top of the list is to make good use of the ginger lily donated by Sizer, something the mums thought would encourage nectar-hungry insects into the garden.
If we try and split it into a few pieces, and we could spread it around the garden then we've not just got one.
Yeah, I'm just a bit frightened about splitting it because all the roots are all joined together and I obviously don't want to lose it because we do really, really like it.
It takes guts to chop into the roots like this, and Helen's growing confidence as a gardener is clear to see.
There we go. It's like slicing a cake.
It is.
And Jenny's convictions about what to do with their stumpery speaks volumes about her budding gardening skills.
It would be nice to recreate in our own way what we saw at Sizer in their stumpery, wouldn't it? You know, like adding our own things into it that aren't necessarily traditional stumpery plants.
Yeah, I felt quite, like, happy after we'd been to something.
Yeah, reassured I think, weren't we?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we sort of made our own version of a stumpery.
Their self-assurance about their ideas has come a long way. Things in Hackney have been moving on as well since Monty last lent a hand. But Carla and Stuart's tiny garden still needs to make a big leap forward. Luckily, sometimes it's not what you know, but who you know.
Since Monty's been here, we have done a bit of planting and then we thought we'd better get some paving down. So we had some friends over who were amazing. They came over with an angle grinder and they just cut them out into some nice curves for us.
They came to help us, but they ended up doing most of it themselves.
Yeah.
So.
Now they'll be able to lay the underfoot pebble texture that evokes Carla's childhood in the Philippines.
We've never done anything like this before, so we hope we've been told that we can lay them outside, but this is more of an experiment, so hopefully it will work.
And before long, Monty's back to see how they're getting on.
I know that Carla and Stuart have wanted to create a lush, tropical feel in their garden. And with the plants they've chosen, I'm sure that will happen. But the difference between making a good idea sort of work and creating a great garden is attention to detail. It can be lush and exuberant, but every leaf and every part of the garden must be finessed, particularly in one as small as theirs.
Carla and Stuart have spread out to the front of the bungalow, where they've been experimenting with one such detail.
Now, orchids something that you have a special interest in?
Yeah, my mum had an orchid garden when I was little. She loves them.
Just stop there. That's really grand. My mum had an orchid garden. That's not something you hear every day on the streets of Hackney.
No.
Your mother had hanging orchids.
Yeah.
What do they hang from there?
They were hanging from dried coconuts.
So you won't be able to get dried coconuts, presumably?
Well, actually, we do.
We tried drying our own coconuts, but they ended up kind of coming out a bit wrong.
Yes, OK.
Carla's idea is to turn these coconut shells into hanging pots for her orchids.
This is one I made earlier.
This is sort of like a farcical Blue Peter programme. Looking at this, here you have a lovely orchid. How will you fix them to it?
I don't know.
OK, all right. So work in progress. And how will you hang them so they don't fall sideways?
It's completely fine for them to fall sideways.
OK, good. No, listen, I bow to your superior knowledge on this.
No.
Because I've never had, not even one hanging orchid garden in my life. When I think about your garden, detail needs to be really precise. And this is a really good example of the kind of detail I was thinking about, because that's what you will see.
Yeah.
Carla also wants Monty's approval about another key element of her Filipino dream garden.
I don't know what this is. It looks to me, it could be a bridge, it could be a path, it could be a building.
Yeah, bit of both, but not the last. A bridge and a path. Yeah.
A bridge and a path.
Tell me how you're using it and what you've got to do.
We want to lay this out in the garden and form a kind of pathway through the plants.
So that's going behind the banana, is it?
Exactly, it's kind of weaving behind the banana. And then next to this path, we're going to have some vertical structures embedded in the ground, and that's what we're thinking of hanging some plants off.
Yeah. Leaving them to finish their jungle hideaway, Monty will be back in just a couple more weeks to see the final result. In Hawkshaw, it's the last day of the school holidays and time for the garden project to be completed before the start of the new term. Monty's on his way to see whether the St Mary's team have pulled off their ambitious dream. But the weather forecast is atrocious.
This project is unlike any kind of private garden because it has to deal and please so many different people and different kinds of people, from the very youngest child at school to local people who may have lived here for 80 years or more. But no garden could have had more enthusiasm and more goodwill poured into it. So let's hope all that amounts to something that's going to please everybody.
That last time Monty was here was the last day of term. Yeah. And there's a lot happened since then.
It would be so nice if he approves of what we've done so far, wouldn't it?
I think he will.
I think he'd be amazed.
I'm excited.
It's only 6 weeks since Monty first visited. Then it was a large but underused space with boring features, almost devoid of educational or fun value. The PTA team have worked a miracle. They've transformed it into a colourful, fun-packed area that has something for everyone.
There you are. It's come alive.
Yes.
It is looking fantastic.
The new path guides visitors on a special journey of discovery, from the vegetables in the raised beds to the wildlife in the pond. From the bug hotels crawling with guests to their unique take on a Victorian stumpery. Helen, Jenny and Claire have been the ringleaders in putting real life into this one-time blank canvas, but they've shared the fun with the whole community.
You must have worked very hard.
We really have.
We have, yeah.
And what do the children think of it?
They love it.
Yeah. There's something in every little bit that you see little clumps of children, little, what's this, and it's really...
Well, there's lots here. I love the signs. Pond rules, one at a time. Don't lean on the rail, don't squash the frogs. And the mosaic, where did that come from? Was
That was just buried on the wall here and not really appreciated.
Right. Let's go back. In the corner was going to be a stumpery, and your stumps were a little bit stumpy, weren't they? They weren't.
Yeah.
So that's become a
loggery.
Really nice. I really like that. The veg are looking great because it started very late.
Yes, and we didn't really have much hope for them, but they really done well.
The children are excited that it's grown though, aren't they? Yeah. They're really excited when they come down and see that it's grown.
So do people come from houses round and take stuff from there?
Yeah, and parents after school will come down and get something,
But the pièce de résistance is the wildlife pond, something the team would never have dared tackle without Monty's encouragement.
So the children come running over the bridge, which is good fun. Do they like it?
They love it.
They think it's... They look for frogs.
Yeah. We were hesitant about the idea of a pond because we thought, water and children, it might be difficult. But we're really glad we've done it now.
I think it's added the wow factor to our garden.
How much have you actually spent?
To get it to this point, I think about 4,000.
Yeah. And ultimately, it's money well spent. We're happy with it.
You may not be able to measure it in pounds, shilling and pence, but you can certainly measure it in the sum of human happiness.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And what British garden would be complete without one final detail? The predicted downpour. But not even that has kept the community away.
The children are so excited about it. There's so much learning will go on with the different plants. Will be grown at the pond, which has already got frogs in it, which is just lovely.
It's great that our children and our friends' children are going to grow up and have this all to look forward to.
From a piece of grass to what we've got now is credit to everybody that's done it.
It's a wonderful thing, and it's been a privilege to watch it being made, and it's an even greater privilege to declare it open. So, I declare this garden open! Fantastic! Very good. I applaud you. A small group of very dedicated, passionate, enthusiastic women have combined to create not just a garden, but a complicated one that's fulfilling lots of roles and pleasing lots of people.
When we started, this was our big dream. It's sparked something within us that we didn't think that we would be able to do.
Yeah.
But now we've got even bigger dreams.
Yeah. We've surpassed what we wanted to do, haven't we?
This is a garden that will survive any amount of weather or whatever life can throw at it, because it's made with real passion. It shines.
In Hackney, it's the big day. How far will Monty think Carla and Stuart have come since their first tentative steps as novice gardeners?
When I first came here, and Carla and Stuart explained their dream of having a tropical, exotic garden that would remind them of the Philippines, I thought that's really interesting, but not particularly unusual. But what fascinates me, and what I want to see now, is how they've taken that idea and then personalized it. How they've used detail, sometimes quite small detail, to make this exotic garden their own.
When people have asked us what Monty's role is in this project, my main answer is that he's our mentor. And as with any mentor, when you actually finish something, you really want their approval.
And he has, what he's seen so far, he has liked, so a small part of my mind thinks he's going to turn up and hate it, but I think that's unlikely. So, I'm sure it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Less than 4 months ago, Carla and Stuart's tiny back courtyard was a scruffy little box with flaking brick walls and a large unloved spiky tree in one corner. Now it's been completely transformed into a private tropical retreat.
Well, look at it. It's great!
They've cleanly divided the space into 2 areas with a bold curving cobbled path, creating the sensuous underfoot texture Carla craved. They've planted a dazzling array of tropical plants, including bananas, a windmill palm, a gunnera given to them by Nick, and canna lilies. Their homemade bamboo pathways and seating evoke a simple Filipino style. The hanging frames support the colourful orchids that remind Carla of her childhood. Now it's time for a full review.
It feels quirky and slightly odd, which I like. Are you happy with it?
Very happy.
Very happy, yeah. I think it's better than what we envisaged.
What were the key details that you felt made it come alive?
I think definitely sort of some of the plants, like the crested wattle, really reminds me of the tamarind. And maybe the bamboo structures and the actual architectural features.
Your bamboo path, I see, has got in.
Yes.
And that's worked.
Good.
And does it work as a path?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the plants have grown quite a lot into the path, so we need to maybe do some trimming.
And at the last moment, Carla has added one special detail that brings back those important childhood memories.
The bag is actually quite personal, I think, because that's something that's really Filipino, having those bags. Yeah, and that was a last-minute thing yesterday.
Right, good.
It's fine.
And these pebbles as well, that was a big part, wasn't it?
So tell me about the budget. How's that gone?
Well, we initially said £2,000.
Yeah.
We haven't gone too badly. I think we've spent about 2,200.
That's reasonable. I think 10% leeway, given that you didn't know what you were doing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Actually, it's not unreasonable to transform part of your household into a completely new living space, is it?
No, completely.
And that's what it's become.
Yes.
Now they have Monty's seal of approval, it's time for family and friends to see what the couple have been up to. And amongst them, a familiar face.
They've done an amazing job. It is just full of tropical, zingy plants, mad, jungly leaves. It's brilliant. When I came out of their patio door, it's not what you expect to see in a small courtyard in Hackney.
Even Stuart's mum is only seeing the garden for the first time.
So proud of both of them. Stuart has never touched a garden in his life. So to be able to bring this to fruition is just incredible.
All that's needed now is for Monty to give this tropical courtyard dream an appropriate send-off.
Right, I think it's time we made this garden official, don't you?
Yes.
So we should drink to it. We'll drink to a future of constant tropical lushness and endless pruning. So cheers, cheers. What do you want to call this garden? The Jungalow, right. I christen this garden the Jungalow. Oh yes, look! Look! We're watering it. One of the things that I've enjoyed about this is how uncomplicated it's been. Carla and Stuart had an idea of what they wanted, and with minimal fuss, they've just set about making it happen, even though they've had to learn a lot along the way. And I suspect they're going to enjoy it with the same lack of fuss.
I think I've got a new hobby, like quite a serious hobby, which is gardening. And I know that that's something that is lifelong, so that's kind of a great thing.
I think I feel a bit sad because it's the end of the process, or this part of the process, and I think we both really enjoyed kind of the different steps and learning different things about the plants, but I guess that's not going to come to an end, so we should try not to be too sad.
Do you dream of having your own special outdoor space? A small garden that you can admire, enjoy, and call your own. And then you stop and think, I have no idea how to make it. Well, you're not alone.
Monty Don has travelled up and down the country visiting amateur gardeners with bold ambitions. He's scrutinised their plans and pushed them out of their comfort zones.
Going out into deeper, darkest, unknown territory, isn't it?
It's not been easy.
I hate it.
But everyone's worked incredibly hard.
Both of us want to sleep for a week, pretty much.
You've had your tea break, come on.
And the transformations have been extraordinary.
It's just incredible, it really is.
I declare this garden open! I do believe that everybody, however small their garden, can cultivate a big dream. Here they come.
Here they come.
This is like an identification parade, isn't it?
This time, Monty is helping two sets of ambitious gardeners, each facing challenges on a very different scale.
That's it.
One may be a tiny urban courtyard, but the dream is off the scale.
My big dream for this place is for it to become a tropical garden.
The other is a larger space, but has to fulfil the dreams of a whole community.
It's a blank canvas at the moment, really, and I'd like it to provide inspiration to the children.
Both are tackling complicated projects and are desperate for Monty's advice.
If you don't want it there, move it.
God, that was so much bigger than I thought it was.
This is just a bundle of fibrous roots. Doesn't look like anything.
With absolutely no gardening experience whatsoever between them, can they possibly manage it?
We've got this big dream, but we just don't know how to get it into reality.
We've got the time, we've got some money, but we don't have the knowledge.
Our first garden is a private urban retreat in Hackney in northeast London. A year ago, Carla and Stuart moved into this 1990s bungalow with a tiny patch of garden tucked behind it, measuring only 20 square metres.
This is the back garden, and at the moment it's just very bare. It's surrounded by walls, and there's a shed, a big tree and a dead tree, and peeling paint.
I think it's amazing that we even have any garden space at all.
But Carla has a very particular dream for the tiny back courtyard, inspired by her childhood in the Philippines. With little idea where to start, the couple are thrilled and relieved to hear that Monty will give them a hand in creating their tropical paradise.
We need him to guide us on how we can make the most out of it. It's such a small space that I think the planting would be very important.
And there's a couple of plants that we put in since we moved in, but it hasn't really kind of moved on very much from that.
Monty's skills might be needed on another front too.
We've got like a banana plant, haven't we? So we've had countless arguments about where the best place to put that is.
Yeah, we really need an adjudicator for that one. I'd like to be proved right, but I'll probably be proved wrong.
Our second garden belongs to a whole community. This large space is used as a play area by St Mary's Primary School in the village of Hawkshaw near Bury in Lancashire. It's also shared with the whole village. And the members of the PTA, the Parents and Teachers Association, feel they could be doing so much more with this 300 square metres of land.
At the moment, it is just grass, it's just patio, and we want it to be exciting, want it to draw people in, don't we?
It's never been maintained, and it's something the school have just neglected, really, but it's something that the PTA have taken on.
Helen and Jenny are both parents with children at the school, and Claire is the school secretary.
We've got this lovely space that we could make use of for the whole school.
We want it to be like a journey where the people can go around the path and it just feels like they've experienced something.
Yeah. The bottom area we want to really bring alive, don't we?
Yeah, sensory area, nature area, the stumpery, the bug hotel.
The three mothers have big dreams and the backing of the whole community. But it's Monty's help they need more than anything.
We're a bit overwhelmed.
Without him, we wouldn't be able to finish this to the standard we want.
No.
It's the merry month of May. With the sap rising and everything bursting into fresh leaf, it's a great time to make a start on a new garden project. Monty is on his way to Hackney to meet Carla and Stuart and see what he can do to help them with their project.
I can't imagine what he's going to say about our garden.
I don't think he's going to tear the design to pieces, but I'm kind of bracing myself just in case.
Yeah.
Hi, Monty.
Hello, hello.
Welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Hello, hello.
The couple can't wait to show him the courtyard.
So this is the space?
Mm-hmm.
It's